in a significant escalation, Baloch fighters have reportedly taken control of the Surat city in Balochistan after fierce clashes with the Pakistan security forces. Videos have now emerged showing the fighters not only seizing control of the city but also burning down a police station in Surat. The Baloch Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the attack and has taken over. In an official statement, the group says that the Baloch Liberation Army's freedom fighters have taken full control of Surat city. Fighters have also seized key government institutions including banks, stations and police stations as well. The BLA further claimed that its fighters are also patrolling the strategically significant Quetta-Karachi and Surat-Gidar highways, which they assert are now under their control. This comes after many weeks of explosive developments taking place in Pakistan vis-a-vis the Baloch liberation movement. What does this latest development indicate? And what does this mean for Pakistan in the long term? We take these questions forward. I have with me Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goyal. We have with us Mr. Ahmed Mushti Khan, senior journalist. Mr. Adit Kothari joining us as well on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation with Mr. Ahmed, if I may. Mr. Ahmed, if you could perhaps, just for knowledge sake, sir, to educate our viewers, explain what is the significance of the Baloch Liberation Army wanting to or claiming to have taken over specifically the Surat city. Why this particular city?
Thank you so much. I am Ahmed Mushti Khan, and I'm a senior journalist. I'm grateful to you for giving me this opportunity. You see, Surab is a very strategic city. It is Balochistan. Most cities have, they are not as big as in population as Mumbai. So we have smaller populations, but it's a city of around 50,000 people. But it's a very strategic city because this is where most of the highways pass through. And the important thing about this development on Friday is that the king of the jungle in Pakistan, whose name is the failed Marshal Asim Munir, he was in Quetta on that day. He was at the Command and Staff College, and that is about 120 miles from Surat. So this was a very, you see, daring operation by the Baloch freedom fighters. Our freedom fighters are today ready all over Balochistan, towns and villages. I just spoke to someone this morning, and in this, for example, in the city of Turbat, which is in Makran. Makran used to be a very, very peaceful area, coastal Makran. And today, you see, in this one town, Turbat, there are about at least 12,000 freedom fighters who are willing to sacrifice their lives for the freedom of Balochistan. The Baloch freedom movement has now achieved a point where there is no return from it. And this General Asim Munir, who was saying that the Baloch are only 1,500, he is living in a fool's paradise. And today what happens is, just today they are trying to convene a jirga, and all the people from Punjab, all the Lahoris and the Pindiwalas are there, and no significant Baloch leader is present in that jirga. So this should be called a Punjabi Pendu Jirga. It has got nothing to do with the Baloch people or the Baloch politics. So they are lost. You see, they have lost Balochistan. When they are going to attack their neighbors all the time without rhyme or reason, and when they are going to subjugate a nation for 77 long, dark years, that end has to come. And that end is soon coming in Balochistan. I'm very grateful to Shri Narendra Modi for telling them, Sukh Chain ki zindagi jiyo, roti khao, varna mera goli to hai. Such statement from India really delights us. We are with the people of India against the terrorist state of Pakistan. Thank you.
Okay, but Mr. Musti Khan, I also want to understand from you, when you say that this was a strategic location that has been now taken over by the Baloch Liberation Army, what really is there next? Because videos that come out show police vehicles and other vans being set on fire. There are claims that have been made that police stations have been taken over, highways have been seized. How exactly is the Baloch Liberation Army then and the leaders of the Baloch movement preparing to take on the Pakistan Army?
See, the thing is, I have to be very honest with you. We have taken the city. This doesn't mean that the Pakistan military may not come back with extreme force and retake it for some time. But the thing is, the writing is on the wall. About 9 million people in Balochistan, the Baloch people, they have rejected this idea of Pakistan. We never were a part of this nonsensical idea, which I call Lord Mountbattenistan. We were never a part of this nonsense, you see. We were thrown to the Pakistani wolves by Whitehall in England. And that Whitehall, the white racist, I will tell one thing, please. The white racists in the last century committed so many terrible things against black and brown folks. And I would call Pakistan one of the worst sins of the white man in the last century. And that sin is not going to continue in Balochistan. We are going to defeat this terrorist state of Pakistan. I'm not claiming that this Surab will forever stay in Baloch hands. In the liberation war, one day one party comes, other day another party comes. And even in major wars, this happens. But we are going to win, and victory is our destiny for sure.
Okay, Mr. Musti Khan, I will come to you in just a moment. Mr. Mehran Murray, Baloch representative to the UN and European Union, also joins me on the broadcast. Mr. Murray, how critical is this latest development? If you can explain to our viewers the fact that the Baloch Liberation Army at this point in time claims to have taken over the Surab city.
It's very critical and it's of very much importance while the so-called field marshal and the local administration of Chaudhry Sarfaraz claims that the writ of the government is everywhere in Balochistan. It clearly proves it's not. Pakistani illegitimate government and forces do not have their writ over Balochistan. And these are token gestures to show to the world that Baloch can, at their own choice, take over areas for as long as they choose and then vacate it at the time of their choosing. And the Napak army is scared to even enter these areas where the Baloch have taken over. So this is just a demonstration to the world that do take the Baloch liberation struggle seriously, and the Baloch people have the force to control their country. So this is the time for us to get international help.
Mr. Murray, then, since you've spoken about international help, I want to understand from you, what happens when Pakistan, for example, goes to one of its...
I could not hear you.
What happens if Pakistan goes to one of the nations that have in the past supported them and asks them to perhaps intervene in the matter? How exactly are the Baloch...
The audio is not clear. I can't hear you.
Okay, Mr. Murray, we'll try to reconnect with you. Let's try to reconnect with Mr. Murray and bring him back onto the broadcast. I don't think he can hear me. But Mr. Musti Khan, before I bring in the other guests, let me pose the same question to you. How critical does it become for the Baloch movement to, at this point in time, gain support of the international community? Because what happens when a Pakistan goes to a China, when a Pakistan goes to even say the United States of America and seeks some sort of international intervention? Mr. Murray, can you hear me now?
I can barely hear you.
Okay, Mr. Murray, I'm just trying to understand what happens when Pakistan goes to other nations abroad. Where exactly does support for the Baloch movement stand internationally?
Pakistan is the donor state. It is in the begging bowl of Pakistan. The international community is throwing the bones. I mean, the IMF gave them a fund. China is supporting them. America is not objecting to the genocide in Balochistan. The whole international community, the United Nations, is silent. What extra help could the world give to Pakistan for crushing the Baloch national struggle or the genocide in Balochistan? I think it's doing its utmost. Operation Sindoor was just a light at the end of the tunnel that we saw. Maybe India would get involved. And thankfully, we saw that Taliban government is taking a positive stance against this rogue government and the rogue army of Pakistan. So these are two positive signs. Otherwise, the international world is fully supporting this rogue government and the terrorist state of Pakistan.
Mr. Bari, what is the support that Baloch leaders would expect from the Indian government?
The Indian government should take positive steps, like it did in the case of Bangladesh, to get Balochistan recognized as a sovereign independent state. It would have to do lobbying. I'm sure China would use its veto power. Maybe not. Maybe we could negotiate the terms with China. China is interested in its trade expansionist policies and in the CPEC, and we could facilitate that. So we don't have to fight China. We could negotiate with China. And India could play a very pivotal role in the liberation of Balochistan.
Okay, that brings me to Ambassador Suresh Goyal. Ambassador Goyal, while we continue to report on almost daily developments that are taking place as far as the Baloch province is concerned, important questions, Ambassador Goyal, have to be raised as far as involvement of the international community is concerned, and what really is at stake for other players at this point in time. China is a critical player as far as this particular region is concerned. The United States of America has been very clear that it does not want China to expand further in the region, and we've seen what they've managed to pull off in Bangladesh. Of course, it's been we can't really allege beyond, or rather I can't really say it for sure. I can only make speculations and allegations at this point in time. But Ambassador Goyal, you understand where I'm going with this. So when it comes to China being a critical player and the United States of America also wanting to be a critical player in the region, what happens to movements such as a free Balochistan?
Devika, my apologies to you. I must speak of the same concern that Mani did just now. Your audio is not clear at all. There is a lot of echo in the audio. It's very, very faint. I think on your side, maybe you can ask the technicals to check. But on the basis of some guess that I could make of what you are saying, one or two things that I would like to point out. Bangladesh comes to my mind immediately. 71, more than 50 years. But the world is not really interested, except for the sake of form, in what is happening in Balochistan. They may talk about the human rights of people, where how many people do you really think about talking about what is happening in Gaza? None. Nobody is talking about Gaza. Therefore, what I'm trying to say here, in terms of the real geopolitics, I don't think many countries will come in support of Balochistan freedom fighters. They will continue to fight. As their fight continues to gather strength, and I do see that they are becoming stronger in their resistance against the Pakistani army. As the fight continues to emerge stronger, we may have increased voices from international communities represented by some of the human rights NGOs in the international fora who will add voice. And I think we will welcome that kind of strength to the Balochistan movement. In the meantime, Balochistan people, and I'm saying it with a bit of gravity here, will have to take their campaign to international capitals and make them aware of what is happening. It may not really go very long, but it will carry some way. They should try and do it. My concern, Devika, is that this Pakistani army, which is a rogue army, and I quoted Bangladesh example in the beginning, is that if they begin to lose their hold on Balochistan, what kind of atrocities they might descend to. And we have to be very wary of Pakistani army. And I am quite aware that Islam may be an ideological slogan for them, but Islam has not prevented them from undertaking all kinds of atrocities, violation of human rights in different places. Even within Pakistan, we know what is happening to Pashtuns, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the kind of campaigns they carry out to keep them under suppression. And therefore, two things which I would really point out here is that one, the Baloch could do well by carrying the campaign to making the capitals aware of what Pakistan army is doing in Balochistan. We know, and we do sympathize, and we do talk about these things with other countries also, but they should. And also beware of what Pakistan army could come down to. Devika.
Okay. Adit, bringing you into the conversation. Adit, I want to understand from your perspective, if there is an expectation for India to perhaps get involved in some manner, in your assessment, what is the extent of involvement? And secondly, same question to you, when we talk about other players who have a particular interest in Pakistan, is it in the interest of China and the United States of America to have Pakistan intact and keep it in tatters the way it is at this point in time? Or perhaps do you think eventually some of these countries could possibly explore the idea of, as Mr. Murray was pointing out, negotiating with the people of Balochistan?
So I think, Devika, there is a bit of technical challenge from the audio perspective. But I've managed to gather some of some of your questions, so I'll try and answer to the best of my ability. So the first part of your question, which is how should India be involved with Balochistan? So I think I firmly agree with what Mehran said, that we need to be behind the Baloch people in trying to lobby their voices, in trying to be available with global media, global academia, which is what we are not doing at the moment. I mean, it was only last year when Mehran was in the Westminster Parliament where he coordinated with various people from the British society and British politicians, where we had a very informative session where people did not even know what Balochistan as a country was. Nobody knew that Balochistan had that many resources which it did not have access to, which was actually being exported to Punjab predominantly. I mean, the Sui gas. The Baloch people do not have any profits from that particular that gas mine, and all of it is now being exported to Punjab, which Punjab is the massive beneficiary of. So all of these kind of information is not there in the public domain. That needs to be sent out, and we can only do that by when we have credible voices within the academia coming out and voicing those opinions, and global media taking cognizance of. The reason why the Gaza protests have taken such a shape, despite the kind of false narratives that exist in the Western academia, it's predominantly because of the way the academia and the nexus of academia and journalism and the various countries lobbying for Gaza have actually laid it out. The point of contention is that at this point there is nobody behind Balochistan. The people of Balochistan are predominantly fighting this battle on their own, with a little bit of assistance from their diaspora in UAE, in Oman, Bahrain, Netherlands, etc. But other than that, they really have nobody else fending for themselves, and it's all down to them, fighting against the brutal and barbaric Pakistani army. To the next question, which is the China-US nexus, for both China and United States, a divided Pakistan is no good. For them, the most advantaged situation for them is to keep Pakistan in this current drip feed kind of a scenario where, it runs from time to time either to beg to Saudi Arabia, then to China, and then to United States. And that is the best case scenario for the West, which is why, despite Pakistan being the epicenter of global terrorism, There is a mindless political correctness and a mindless silence on who and what Pakistan really stands for. It is not an army that owns the country. Sorry, it is not a country which owns the army. It is the army which actually owns the country, which is why everybody wants to deal with the Pakistani establishment instead of dealing with the Pakistani polity. So that is what needs to change, and that can only happen once the Pakistani people take cognizance of this, once the people of Pakistan make their army and establishment accountable for the massive number of failures that they've had since 1948, and including the lifestyle of the common Pakistanis, the inflation rate, the fact that they're not being able to eat two square meals a day. That is where the Pakistani people and the civil society needs to hold their establishment accountable. Devika.
Okay, all right. Mr. Mushti Khan, if you can hear me as well, sir, I want to understand from your perspective, as far as international support stands, what exactly, in your assessment, should be the strategy going forward? You've also heard what Ambassador Goel and Adil Kothari have had to say as far as China and America are concerned.
Yes, thank you. You see, the thing is, in international relations, money talks more than anything else. Now, Pakistanis have discovered this fraudster named Bilal bin Saqib. And here he has become so influential in America because of his Bitcoin cryptocurrency fraud. And now he is, you see, at the very highest level. He's talking with the Trump family members, the most influential people in America. And this Mr. Bilal bin Saqib seems to be a peer of Sam Bankman-Fried, who has been jailed for the Bitcoin fraud here for 25 years. They are about the same age, and I won't be surprised if it is found that they are actually very close to one another. And he was here on Thursday, and the Trump family members, Mr. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump Jr. were clapping to his nonsense. So Pakistan is a fraud state. You see, please don't ask us to go to the West. We are looking towards the East. In your parliament building, you have the map of Akhand Bharat. I really like the idea of Akhand Bharat, but the thing is, Akhand Bharat is premised on a free Balochistan. Free Balochistan is the cornerstone of Akhand Bharat. Free Balochistan is the cornerstone of making this century the century of India. As I said previously, the white men committed the most serious crime against 1/4 of humanity in South Asia when they arbitrarily drew this line that partitioned India. And they they threw us to the Pakistan wolves. So we, as much as we can do, we are small in numbers compared to the Punjabis. You see, they are such fraudsters. We try to be as much honest as possible. So it is in India's own interest to fully support us all possible manner, diplomatically, politically, militarily. Our leader, Dr. Allah Nazar Baloch, the other day requested, please give us the 93,000 guns that these cowardly Pakistani soldiers surrendered in Dhaka. Please don't, I will request the Babus in Delhi, don't keep on sitting on the files. I will request my elder brother, Narendra Modi. He has a great chance to recarve these boundaries to make it, you see, Indians want peace. We want peace, but the war has been thrust upon us. This is not the first time this Asim Munir has created in Pahalgam. When he was the ISI chief, he did the same thing in Palwana. So you see, can never trust these Punjabis. And now I am really delighted when they are crying Pani, 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 and they might try to use Nawaz Sharif to come to Modi ji and request to release the pani. Please, no pani for Punjabi jihadis, not even a single drop.
Okay, I want to leave the last word with Mr. Murray. Mr. Murray, I want to understand from your perspective, where does the fight for a free Balochistan go from this point?
Yeah, I think naturally it is evolving. The fight for free Balochistan has evolved immensely in the last few years, and I think it will go on the same tangent. It's going in the right direction, but we do need international help in the sense of recognition, legitimization, because constantly we've been labeled as terrorists. I am representing Balochistan in the international forums, like the gentleman earlier said that we should go to the foreign capitals. We have been running in the foreign capitals for decades with zero results. So us on ourselves, our own capacity in foreign capitals, we will not make a difference as long as India toes our hand and takes us to foreign capitals. Like the Pakistanis take the illegitimate cause of the Kashmiris, the Pakistani occupied Kashmir, they take the militants to the United Nations. I'm a witness to that in the embassy cars. India should, at least on the diplomatic level or the international level, support the legitimate right to self-determination of Balochistan. And I think that's a very just and reasonable thing to ask for from India.
Absolutely. On that note, I've run out of time, but I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast with their perspective.